Hey, this is Brian. Welcome to The Aggressive Life. What we're about here is giving you some gentle prodding, giving you some fuel that's going to help you see a new path you might be able to take in life. And I find that I learn from people who are very, very different from me. It's actually quite aggressive to get to know somebody's story who's a bit different than you. We learn things in that. It's called cross-training. One of the ways that the civilization of the world went forward was during the Renaissance, when the Medici family in Florence, Italy, financed and brought in a bunch of different disciplines to live in close proximity with one another. They brought artists and clergy and scientists and people in the trades, and they kind of crossbred their ideas with one another, and it led to the Renaissance. It's a huge, huge thing. And we want to kind of do that here at The Aggressive Life. I want to have all kinds of different people on, and we've done that. We've had counselors, sex therapists, we've had entrepreneurs, we've had big business people, we've had rodeo cowboys on. It goes on and on and on and on and on. And today we're going to cross-train with somebody who's in a profession that very few of us are ever going to be in. And actually, a lot of us might not be interested in the profession at all, meaning we might not ever watch it. That profession is MMA, Mixed Martial Arts. I've got a interesting past with MMA. Number of years ago, I saw my first MMA fight. Didn't actually go, but I saw it on a big screen in a bar that I was sitting in, and I thought it was really interesting what was happening with these guys kind of prancing around with small gloves. And then they started going on it, and I remember a guy was on all fours, and somebody was giving him uppercuts while he was on all fours, which with my boxing background, that just was like utterly brutal. Like someone's down, they're down. That's not the way it is in MMA, right? If you're down, that's a whole new level of the fights. And so I just turned off MMA. I just never been interested in it at all, like at all. And then we had a guest on, how long is it now? 2 years? Time flies. Michael Chandler, who recently had his debut in the UFC, the premier MMA league in the land. And he really helped me see things I hadn't seen before. And I'm still not a big MMA guy. I don't remember the last I don't know if I've ever seen a whole MMA fight from start to finish. I don't follow the sport real closely. But boy, do I have a massive amount of respect for those who do MMA. And man, have I learned a lot about my own life as a pastor from talking to people who are into MMA. There's a discipline there that I'd like to have to greater degrees in my life. There's an aggressiveness that you've got to have when you're in the octagon or the ring that even pastors like me need to have. There is an intentionality. There is a element of training, of putting yourself through painful situations right now so that you'll perform well when you're in the ring. When I prepare to preach, it oftentimes is a painful thing, but I'm going to be on a stage or in a video trying to help people. And I've got to put myself in those painful discussions. So a lot of things that I learn from people who are doing things that I don't do, and I want to do that with you on The Aggressive Life. And that means that today we're going to do it again. Deep in the rainforest of Myanmar, a deadly creature dwells. Average ones grow up to 16 feet long, and they weigh 165 pounds. They slither through the ground looking for mammals and birds, and when they find one, they capture it with their fangs, then begin to slowly wrap their body around it, squeezing it to death. I know some of you right now are really bothered because I'm talking about a snake, and you don't like snakes at all. Even the description just oogies you out. Well, that's the Burmese python, and it might just be the perfect nickname for our guest today. Aung La N Sang was born in Myanmar before moving to the United States in 2004, making his MMA debut in 2005. He's won multiple world championships. He's even held 2 championship belts at the same time, and he successfully defended them for 2.5 years. He's nicknamed the Burmese python. He's known for splitting his MMA victories between knockouts and submission. He's the first Myanmar native to become a world champion in any sport, and it's made him an icon in his homeland. He's still fighting. He's still using his platform to bless the people of his home country. And today, we're going to talk through the ups and downs of MMA and what it takes to throw a knockout punch. It's time to get into the ring. Welcome to the aggressive life. Aung La N Sang, how are you?
I'm very well. Thank you for having me. I'm very blessed to be able to use my platform and, spread the word on Myanmar. Myanmar, everybody knows Burmese python, but they don't really know where Myanmar is.
Well, so tell us, where is it?
It's right next to Thailand and India. It's right in between, smack in between Thailand and India and south of China. It's not a small country. It's a pretty good sized country. The size of, I would say, if you compare it, it would be like the size of Texas. So it's a good sized country.
And how did you get into MMA?
Well, I came to the United States in 2003, started training in 2004, and I just fell in love with it. I fell in love with the training aspect and the competing aspect. And when I first started competing in 2005, it was still in a very early stage. Mixed martial arts was still in an early stage. And so I got in at the right time,
And before that, were you getting into a lot of scraps in your home country, or what was that like?
Like back home, when we get into fights, it's a fist fight. We punch, we throw punches, kicks. It's in us to punch, kick, and knee and elbow. So like when I was a kid, I loved training, martial arts. I love, the martial arts movies. I did karate when I was a kid, but not really not really mixed martial arts yet, because mixed martial arts wasn't around yet, back in the days. But then I've always loved martial arts. When I was a kid, my brothers and I, we would buy boxing gloves and we would box each other just for the fun of it, So I have two older brothers and two sisters as well. So we are in a big family with cousins, living near or with us. So we always got into scraps with each other. So
we were the same way growing up. We had 16-ounce Everlast boxing gloves, and we would go in the garage and just beat on each other. And I don't even know if you can buy boxing gloves anymore. They probably have boxing glove control on them, and you probably can't even buy them, because now we only want to buy little kids helmets. We would never buy them boxing gloves to actually punch one another. Then that would never happen. So it's actually refreshing to talk with someone who's done that. Actually, I think it's probably part of why our American culture is so antagonistic to one another and so petty and so just mean on social media, because you aren't risking actually getting punched in the face. When you can get punched in the face, you end up not being as much of a jerk.
It changes things.
It does change
There's
things.
so many keyboard warrior nowadays, they can talk all that behind the keyboards, but then they would never really say it to your face, so.
Before, what would really anger me is when someone was in a car and they would whip me the finger. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, talk about such a weenie move. How tough you are to whip me the finger while you're going 65 miles an hour or 35 miles an hour while I'm standing. The level of our cowardice really, really bothers me. Actually, and I'm not a hyper pro MMA guy. Let's talk about that for a moment. I have turned pro MMA just probably in the last 2 years, and the reason was a great discussion we had with, I know, a mutual friend of ours, Michael Chandler, who was on the Aggressive Life way back when. His career is really, really going well. And Michael just kind of walked me through the actual sport element of why he was drawn to MMA. Talk to us for you about the sport. Why is MMA an actual sport for you versus just some violent action that some people might think it is?
Well, the training that goes into it, the discipline that goes into it, and the technical aspect of it makes it a sport, Like it's hard. Like, it's hard to explain, because when I first watched MMA, and in my head I said, man, that's very violent, But there's so much technique to it. There's so much technical aspect to it. And then being able to get in the ring, there's so much discipline into it. There's, like I work with a nutritionist, I work with a sports psychologist, and I work with, my trainers. There's a lot of training behind it. There's a lot of technique behind it. So, in that sense, it's a sport. And, like the thing that makes our sport very interesting is a split second decision can win you the fight or lose you the fight.
Yeah, Michael mentioned that the person he's going against in the ring isn't an enemy of somebody he wants to do violence to. It is a job and a representation of an art form, and hoping that his training and his strategy actually works. And that's the thing. It's not wishing ill on the other person, even though you might talk trash to try to drive sales. It's actually the sport of it, and that's the way it is for you.
Yeah, Michael. I don't usually talk trash, and I know Michael doesn't either. He's very he's a gentleman. You don't need to, because at the end of the day, you are going to end up in the cage or the ring with the person. We don't fight out of hate. We don't fight out of anger. We fight out of, technique, strategy, and we make sure, our training is on point. If you're angry and if you're if you have so much emotion, it actually makes you perform, worse. It makes you perform worse in the cage.
Yeah, when you're trying to conserve your calories and monitor your heart rate, you can't afford to be going into a fight being at 150 beats per second, pumping yourself up an hour before the fight. You're just going to drain yourself of energy. It's actually pretty calculated.
Yeah, it's called like an adrenaline dump, right? Everywhere heard of the term adrenaline dump. When you have so much anger, hatred in you, it's gonna come back down, and then you're gonna be in that dump. So we have to be very calculated, and we have to make sure we control our breathing, and psychologically we are able to perform. So
Burmese Python. How did you get that name? Because we're not supposed to have cool nicknames, but you have a very cool nickname. Is it true to how you fight? How'd that come about?
Well, I was more of a grappler when I first started, competing. But the nickname came because the promoters in the Midwest, because I started competing in the Midwest when I went to school in college. And I would tell them I'm from the country Myanmar, and they wouldn't know where it was. Most people don't know where Myanmar is because of Myanmar's history and stuff. But everybody knows the Burmese python, in Florida, it's a nuisance here. The Burmese python is a nuisance here. And the promoter knew what a Burmese python was. So I was like, you know where Burmese pythons are? They're from the country Myanmar. And he was like, really? So that's going to be your nickname. So they gave it as a nickname.
Hey, taking a quick break here to let you know that my latest book, Move, has been picked up by a traditional publisher and is getting a nationwide release on May 11th. We've added 22% new content to this devotional. So even if you own the original, there's new stuff in there. We've got a week's worth of special podcast content planned to celebrate the release. And I'm excited about this book, this content, because these are the things that guys wrestle with and need to hear from. So you can pre-order your copy on Amazon now, and you'll be ready for it on May 11th. So back to the show. You won Fighter of the Year in 2018 at the World MMA Awards. How do you get that kind of award?
I think I was the international fighter, not the fighter, but the international fighter of the year.
That's got to be a huge milestone for you to be able to notch in your belt. For
sure. Being listed with all the great fighters around the world and actually winning it is amazing. And I just want to, I'm very thankful for this honor. And it motivates me more, because I'm from a small town in Kachin State, in Myanmar. So it's a big it's a big motivation for me. And to get an honor like that, it drives me to be better, to be a better person, to be a better mixed martial artist.
How old are you right now?
I'm 35 right now. So
35. And what's the shelf life of an MMA fighter for you? How much more time do you have in the octagon, do you think?
I would say a couple of years.
And then what?
And then go into coaching, go into, become a beekeeper, become a farmer, something that I'm passionate about. I want to go pursue something else that I'm passionate about. People get so like tied up, into their career that they can't look past it. But for me, it's like, this is life, you get to pursue what you want. You get to pursue what you want. You got to go after what you love, that's the main thing in life.
Yeah, you've got an agricultural degree from Michigan, and you like digging in the dirt, and you like bees, and you like punching people in the face. That's quite a trifecta there.
Yeah, it's like when I first started, I worked with dairy cows, so making milk, and then I worked with beekeeping, so it's honey, the land of milk and honey, right? America is the land of milk and honey, and getting the opportunity to do what I love, what I'm passionate about. Like, I feel very blessed to be able to do what I love every day.
That is awesome. Well, you mentioned the term blessed. A lot of people would say lucky. Why do you like the term blessed?
Because I know that, my path was not easy. It's been a long road. I've dedicated like 16 years of my life into this sport. It hasn't been a smooth road. It's been bumpy, but if you keep grinding and if you keep working hard, you're gonna be blessed. I think luck plays a small factor, but you still have to put in the work. No matter how lucky you are, you still have to put in the work. Some people are lucky because they have really good genetics. Some people are lucky because they're born a little bit richer than others are, but you still have to work, work hard. And then working hard, God's going to bless you.
Yeah, there's an understanding of randomness when we're lucky, as if I just woke up and everything was well. But whenever I hear someone say blessed, it's a cue that there's something deeper to them. There's an awareness of God and the blessing of God versus, well, I just randomly had things go well for me. I love that.
Yeah, I think the mindset of people that think that you're lucky is a very detrimental mindset to your success. When you think about luck is very random. When you think about bless, you reap what you sow. You have to really sow. You have to really work hard to get the benefit of being blessed.
Yeah, when I look at you, I'm not looking at a guy that is violent by nature. The aggressive life isn't about, hey, let's go out and beat people up. Let's go out and strong arm and have our way with people. Let's just go out and do crazy, silly things. That's not what the aggressive life is. It's being very calculated and making moves that are not passive in nature, making moves that mean I need to put myself in a position where a blessing could come instead of sitting around and waiting for myself to get lucky.
Yeah.
And I can tell looking at you, it's not, violence is not the thing for you. It's a way of life that you're trying to be in tune with.
Yeah. So in 2017, I won my, middleweight title, world title. After, I would say 13 years of training, I won the world title. I won the world title, but it was very close. It was a close decision. It wasn't very one-sided. It was very close decision. And the reason why it was close was because I would keep getting taken down. I would get taken down in the fight. I hurt him, almost knocked him out, but it was very close. So my decision after that was I need to go somewhere that will help with my wrestling, and that's why I moved down to Florida. That was 3 years ago. It was something that I knew in my heart and I knew in my head that if I don't get better, I'm going to lose this belt, and 3 years ago, I came to Florida in 2018, on New Year's Day. I came to Florida and I started training at Hard Knocks 365 or Sanford right now. And that's where I met guys like Michael Chandler. in our team, you'll see everybody's working hard. There's no drama. All grown men working hard to reach their potential, you know? And when I got in that environment, I was like, man, this is where I need to be. This is where I can take my career further and I can take care of my family. And that's why I moved down here to Florida.
That's really the aggressive move right there. It isn't the fighting. It is the aggressive move of, I need to change my environment. I need to get around the right people. Very, very few of our listeners are going to do MMA and should do MMA. I never have, but this is beyond what you're talking about here. What you're making changes to your life, not waiting for your life to happen, but looking at it. I just meet people who are not willing to do an honest assessment of their weaknesses, the honest assessment of what could happen in their life if they got the right people around them, if they made a change in scenery, because those things are always uncomfortable, but you've done that really well.
Yeah, I didn't have family here. I didn't have anybody here, you know. And my wife's family were up in Maryland, and I still made that choice. You know, 3 years ago, I made that choice. And the choices that you make, like the choices that you make right now is going to affect your life in 3 or 5 years. And the choices that you made 3 years ago is going to affect your life right now, you know. And that's an important fact.
Yeah, I think it's that lag time that's difficult for us. If we knew if I made this change right now, I would feel the benefits right now, then we'd be making a lot more changes. But you're right, the biggest changes or blessings that are to come to us, they're going to have the largest lag time.
Yep, 100%.
Even just I want to earn more money, so I probably need to get a college degree for a lot of us. Okay, well, guess what? That's going to take you 4 years to get that degree, and that's going to take a few more other years until you actually get to the company and the role that's actually going to work for you. There's always a lag time, and so few of us can practice delayed gratification. And I think that those who are athletes really get that, right? Because you're training, and you're not. You might see a little bit of a pump from doing your training right there in your muscles. It might give you some instant gratification, but the training you do, it never makes you feel better immediately, right? Actually, you feel worse immediately. But it's a way you got to do that, or else you have no chance at a goal or something better.
Yeah, I feel like crap right now. I feel like crap. Like my whole body is sore. My toe hurts. My hand hurts. Everything hurts. I'm telling you, right now, everything hurts. I feel very broken down and beat down. But I know that on April 28th, I'm going to feel good. You know, on April 28th, when I compete, you know, I'm going to be in shape and I'm going to be in my prime, you know. We're pretty banged up. You know, I just got done sparring, we're full on kicking, punching each other. But we still have to, you know, show up for training 2 times a day, you know, 6 days a week. So it's not easy, you know, it's not easy. People just see the glamour of winning the fight and all that, but the things that come with it is a lot, you know. Just like people see when you go to a grocery store, you see like you see a jug of milk, right? You see a jug of milk and you just drink it. But if you think about it, there's a lot of work that went into that. The feeding, the shoveling of the poop.
Yeah.
There's a lot that went into it, you know. And we should be thankful for those things that we have, you know. We take it for granted.
Yeah, that's great. Great word. Aung La, I'm ready for the lightning round for you. Are you ready for the lightning round? The lightning round is when I say something and you give me a very quick, rapid fire answer. Can you do it? Are you up for the challenge?
Sure, why not? Let's go.
Michael Chandler recently had his UFC debut and did very, very, very well. You're friends, but you and Michael have a bout. Who wins?
I'll sit on him. I'm too big. I hope I have enough skills to beat a guy that's 50 pounds less than me. Michael is an amazing athlete. You know, he's an amazing fighter. But I do have 50 pounds on him and about half a foot reach. So
Well, and you're right, you watch his Instagram videos, and all the dude does is work out with medicine balls all day. I mean, you go like, okay, I get it. You run up and down to AstroTurf and throw medicine balls around. I get it.
He does backflips too after he throws those.
Right. All right. What the secret to a knockout punch?
Seeing it, and then like people think it's all that power that you put in, but it's not always the power, because sometimes you can throw as hard as you want and they still don't go down, and then suddenly you throw that perfect placement. That's when the knockout happens and they're on the ground.
Best thing to do in a real fight.
Keep your hands up. Keep your hands up. Throw knees, throw elbows. Throw the points of your body part that's hard. People think they're going to punch somebody. Remember, somebody's head is hard. People's head are hard. So it's better to knee or elbow them.
I spoke with I'm sorry, this is the lightning round, and I always have follow-up comments. So sorry, I'm breaking the rules of lightning round, but I remember speaking with a guy who was a fighter and a bodyguard and a bouncer. He just was like, and actually he was also a enforcer for the underworld at one point, or maybe it wasn't an enforcer. He was he collected debts for a bookie, just kind of one of those guys, big, huge guys. And he said, yeah, he said, the problem is, the thing is, everyone thinks you're going to get a punch, but you get that punch and you're likely going to have a broken hand from that punch. And he said, so what you really want to do is I have to get close enough to give him an elbow. But then the problem is, if I get so close to give him an elbow, I'm close for them to give me a punch. So it's just like, okay, am I gonna get the first shot and a broken hand, or am I gonna give him an elbow and I can keep going on? I was like, things I never considered before.
Yep, it really depends on who you are. How you're built. Some people just have hard heads, man, and so you got to make sure you knee them or you elbow them in the head.
Yeah. Most important self-defense move everyone should know.
Well, for me, I think making sure your footing is good, making sure you have a good, strong base. Just being able to throw a 1-2 is very important, in my opinion. Even at the highest level, I don't think they throw a good 1-2. 1-2 meaning the left-right.
Yeah, so what do people do wrong in not having a good 1-2?
They drop their hands when they punch, or they can't generate enough power because they don't use the right, the right footwork, and they don't use the correct body mechanics to it. So,
yeah, it's not throw a punch as in my arm is going. You're right. It's the pivot. It's the turning on the balls of your feet. All that stuff.
Yeah, body mechanics of the shoulder. So,
biggest lesson you want to pass on to your kids?
Be brave. Be brave when you pursue your passion. Just be brave. And nothing's going to come easy, Nothing in life that's good is going to come easy.
Best piece of advice you've ever gotten?
Hard work beats talent when talent refuses to work hard.
Oh, I should get that on my wall. That's awesome. Hard work beats talent when talent refuses to work hard. Did you just invent that, or did you read that on somebody else's wall?
No, it's a saying that it's a saying that's been around.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Aung La, is there anything you want to talk about? Anything else you want to say to the Aggressive Life listeners?
There's a lot going on in my country of Myanmar right now. We don't know how blessed we are living in America until you hear news of I know because I grew up in Myanmar, but the freedom that we have in America, freedom of speech, freedom, freedom to vote, all that things, be thankful for it, and show some gratitude, and in our lives, be thankful for what we have, and do what's right, and if we do what's right, and if there's unity in the United States, as Americans, we are a role model to a lot of people around the world. You may not know that right now. You may not know that, but a lot of people around the world look at America as a role model country. So understand that, and be grateful that you live in such a great country, and help out others that you can. Because at the end of the day, we're all going to leave this earth, but let's leave it, a better place.
That's great. Well said. So is there any way someone could follow up with you? You got any books or podcasts or websites or anything else if someone would say, hey, I want to follow up with this guy or just see what's going on with him? How can they do that?
Well, I'm on social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So you can follow me under Aung La N Sang, my full name. And check me out on TNT. It's going to be, my fight's going to be live on primetime TNT on April 28th.
Oh, live?
Yep, live, yep.
Sweet. And that pronunciation, if you want to follow up, is AUNGLANSANG.
Yep, Aung La N Sang.
Aung La, it has been fantastic having you here on The Aggressive Life. Hope to meet you live someday. Hope to see you fight. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. Talk to you soon. Take care.
All right, brother. Hey, thanks for listening. For more aggressive living, head over to briantome.com. Get signed up for the mailing list to get regular shots of positive aggression sent straight to your inbox. And while you're there, you can also find articles, podcasts, and books. I'm also active on Instagram. Search Brian Tome. Special thanks to the band judges for the music. The Aggressive Life with Brian Tome is a production of Crossroads Church, Cincinnati, Ohio.